Namaste, yogis. Thank you for joining me for this video on yoga and pregnancy and prenatal yoga. We will do this video in 3 segments. The first one, we will talk about properly warming up and how we might see things different or done differently during a prenatal yoga class. Just taking some cautious preventative measures to take care of ourselves and our body during pregnancy, first, second, and third trimester. We will break down 3 different poses that you would do during pregnancy, and I will tell you at least 10 different poses that you would likely encounter or do in a hip opening themed prenatal yoga class. So let us begin with pregnancy. So odds are during pregnancy we're going to have a slight lordosis in our back, and our shoulders are going to round forward, and our neck may go forward a bit too, and we're going to have an anterior tilt in our pelvis because of all this, and our knees will hyperextend or go inward. So when we warm up a prenatal yoga class, we might do some arm circles, and basically unround the shoulders. We're going to fix the neck and keep it level, or the head level with the neck, and then we will kind of keep our bodies upright, try and work out that lordosis, and we are going to unhyperextend the knees by putting a slight bend in the kneecaps. And this is basically the type of posture that you would take while performing prenatal yoga, and you're bound to not be doing that all the time because pregnancy is really rough on the body. Don't be hard on yourself, and yeah, just no judgment there. But because of the potential of maybe risking yourself or the pregnancy, we do want to be aware of those things before we begin prenatal yoga. That way we can work on them and building our balance and strength. Some other things to keep in mind, is during pregnancy you will release leptin, which is a chemical which will make the body more flexible and basically more susceptible to flexibility. So our goal in prenatal yoga is not to become more flexible. Our bodies are already doing that on their own, and we don't want to overstretch because we can lead our bodies towards injury in that way. And what we should focus on, our goals and objectives, would be balance and strength. So in a prenatal yoga class, we'll be focused on building balance, building strength in the body, not like a workout, because you won't be able to exert yourself as much as you used to during pregnancy. But we do want to maintain our strength or build upon it during the first, second, third trimester, especially before the third, because that's when we tend to see breakdown in the strength of the body. And finally, some other things to keep in mind would be that not only do we want to focus on building balance and strength, we want to focus on doing hip openers, because working on hip openers will probably allow for a shorter pushing time during labor. There was a study done on yoga and prenatal yoga and pregnancy that took two different groups of patients, and they had one in the educational side and one in the practicum, the physical practice of yoga and prenatal yoga. And basically the breakdown of it was the ones that did the prenatal yoga, they had a shorter contraction time of pushing during labor than the ones that did not. They also experienced more confidence going into labor and afterward, and they were less likely to be depressed during pregnancy or after pregnancy. And surprisingly, there was no substantial amount of evidence towards there being a great significant amount of alleviation in back pain for pregnancy by doing prenatal yoga. But that could have just been the questionnaire or the exams, or the the questionnaire that they took, and there's still more studies to be done. Alright, so we will begin with 3 different poses that we can do. We can go into a chair squat. We can go into a goddess squat or a yogi squat, and this will open up the hips. And we can also go into a warrior 1 pose, bringing the arms up. We want our knee under our foot. We want to lunge that back leg, toes forward. Another pose we might see that I'll demonstrate is a child's pose. Again, another good hip opener. And tabletop to help build strength. And warrior 1 will also build some strength and some balance. We might see warrior 2 as well. So now I'm just going to name some poses that I believe I would see during a hip opening themed yoga and prenatal yoga class. Some of them poses would be tabletop, cat, cow, goddess pose, cobbler's pose, maybe shoelace pose or half shoelace. We wouldn't hold it for that long though, probably like a minute. We would also see chair squat and child's pose, and we wouldn't do a reclined hero's pose because we don't want to be putting a lot of pressure on the vein in the back that pumps our blood back to our heart, because there's pressure in the body that can build up and constrict the right artery of the heart that way. Not too many studies done on that though, so there's no direct contraindication for that for laying on our back, but you're probably not going to want to lay on your back anyway due to back pain. And let's see, 3 or 4 other poses we could do. I got 8. We might see a deep lunge pose. We might see extended triangle pose, and both those would open up the hips and the sides of the upper body as well. We could see some arm circles for warming up the body, and again with warming up the body we might see a very small rotational twist even in a hip opening themed yoga class. You could see adept's pose as well, which is just a seated yogi position. You might see double pigeon and that would open up the hips. And yeah, I think those are all great poses that you could see during a prenatal yoga class. I thank you for joining me in this video, and I will see you in the next one. Namaste, yogis.